Like, oh, you know what? One of these controllers that's trying to pick up the microphone.
Okay. It's gotta be alphas.
Mine just died. Well, not died, but it unpaired. And here I am trying to
Why
repair
don't
it
you just
again.
take this one and let me see that
You
one.
sure?
Yeah. Let me see that one and I'll see if it works. If not, then you.
He says it's the same.
Oh, this one.
every
Now this
time.
one says 2.
Oh, there
Now
we
it is
go.
2.
Back with another video. Delayed response and all, but we're here in the house. We've got Vicky. We've got Javi.
Latino Heat.
Latino Heat has returned. We have Jamie.
That's me.
And we have Alpha.
Dog.
Wolf.
Always.
I don't know if that one's paired now
80s baby gamer is not here. But in the house we do have a special guest, as always.
It's gonna be all right. I like to take things slow.
That sounded like what
Okay,
that girl said to Javi. But
Oh, damn.
Uh,
No, it's just I want to be friends.
it wasn't even friends. It's like,
I don't like you.
oh, dude, it's so weird.
so it's
So
only
random.
4. So I'm not going to play. I'm going to let y'all play.
though. Alright.
Yeah, we were
Well,
listening
this
to a
one-
Mario song on the way
This
back
one now it
from
says
Florida.
2, so I don't know.
Or actually, switch with him. Let him do it.
Alright.
So I'm going to sit it out. Alpha, you start it out.
Okay, I'm number 2.
Okay, so
Number 3.
Javi's number 1 then. Whoever.
No.
I'm number 1. I don't want to be number 1.
Why did this one like...
I want to be number 3.
No, don't even use that one. Use the. Yeah.
Maybe the other one.
This one's not even. Oh, yeah, it is.
You number 1, baby. You'll always be number 1 to me.
Go ahead and hit that A button, player 1.
Player 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well,
And then y'all pick y'all's characters. Make sure this volume is where it needs to be.
I'm Peach. Bet you didn't see that coming.
I'll be nabbit.
I mean, this game has the most Mario characters in like a platformer.
Where's Wario?
He's not here.
Guess you're gonna have to be Toadette.
That's not cool.
You could be Rosalina. You look good in blue.
I mean, there's a yellow Yoshi.
Oh, we have to unlock him first?
No.
Okay. Well, then I'll just be Red Yoshi.
But
Okay.
you're wearing a yellow hat.
It's a Wario hat.
Yeah. Who picked Nabbit?
My baby.
Okay. So Nabbit doesn't take any damage, but Nabbit can't hold any items.
I forgot. Okay. Well,
And I think both Nabbit and Yoshi don't take damage.
I don't know what's happening.
So this is like in Mario Party where you go to like different boards, kind of. But there's not really different boards. There's an attraction mode and a tour mode. So I think you can go to, you can go straight up there to local multiplayer and pick those versus games.
let's see. Battle games, 3 attractions. Let's just start here and see what happens. I'll come back and Bubble Blaster. That sounds fun.
Battle Royale.
I want to see y'all play that one. The Battle Royale one.
Because that's basically like Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Yay! I like
So if you press X, there's like a how to play.
Somebody got a question.
Oh, dude, that's cool. That's an old school.
Yeah, the original
Yeah.
Mario Brothers arcade game.
Well,
Kind of.
yeah.
No bubbles, but. What's up?
Hey!
What's up?
Okay.
The rivals flying.
Is that the same thing?
Oh, it's just different levels. Do the same thing. Okay,
Is
let's
it?
start with this one.
since it's not really a spoiler,
Bubble Blaster.
even though it feels like one, what do y'all think of Star Fox being in the Mario movie?
It's gonna be interesting. I like it because it brings in more Nintendo world instead of just
Yeah.
Mario.
Well, you think like Galaxy? You think like there's more
Metroid Prime.
there's more out there than just
Yeah.
you know.
So,
You
since,
could bring in Zelda now.
since
Yeah.
you had read the leaks earlier, was that a part of the leaks?
No, it didn't mention him in there. It mentioned another character helping Bowser Jr. It did mention that. I knew that for like over a year.
But I guess this movie could be the gateway to having spin-offs and everything. Just kind of like what he said.
Oh, that's definitely what's happening.
Fox McCloud's going to have his own. So this is kind of like Nintendo kind of rushed in the Avengers Endgame all already.
It'd be like
Because the Pikmin are in this movie.
Yeah, I heard.
So it's possible that, when they're in the galaxy, quote unquote, you see Olimar out there.
Well, it makes sense then, because
Life
like
booster, no badge. Okay, since I can't die anyway, essentially.
I just
Oh, man.
hit random. That's what I did.
Whoever has the most lives at the end wins. Blast 'em.
Yet he said he felt like time is irrelevant.
Let's get going. You can do it.
Okay, I'm here. Okay, I can shoot down. Okay. No, 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 no.
Keep that lead.
I died.
Oh, no, 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 no. Damn it! Damn it. Oh, I have no weapon. No!
Good job, Jamie. But I still won.
I was like, I know I died a bunch, so. I couldn't get a hold of a gun.
I was trying to find out the controllers first.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what I'm hitting. I'm just gonna go. That was kind of fun, y'all.
That looked fun.
You got some Vasa.
Vasa.
One is flower blue. That's why is when we find out.
Ooh.
So. Okay.
Let's see what's over here. Fast cash. Think fast.
What do you guys want to play?
What you guys want to talk about?
How about the big boost points break?
Carolina.
Is it hippos? Hippos. No, it's hippos.
Tip Top's coin spree.
Zero damage.
Choosing this is
Collect the most coins to win. You can't miss Tip Top.
This looks fun. This reminds me of like the tree level where we're all, but without
Oh,
this
cool.
side scrolling.
Those are hippos.
They're hippos!
You just realized that?
I told you they were hippos! I'm as big as a hippo.
That sucks right here.
Ah, shit.
Oh, damn it. Okay, I think I can walk jump.
Stupid nipples.
No, keep moving on.
Not these, they're dumb.
Can I get up there? No. Oh, okay. No!
Wow.
Wow.
Somebody is Oprah rich on here.
Rain on me.
I think I won. Yeah!
It's like I couldn't even tell where I was half the time.
Good try.
I actually only saw Nabbit's. I didn't see your. I didn't see his score at all. I thought you had it on lock.
I mean, I had it for a little bit, and then, you know, he took it in the hand.
Of course.
Subtractions.
That's the last steal or cheat, man. Well, there's no buy now.
Like a different attraction altogether. Come back anytime.
So, in the one player, there is like the Koopalings return and the Bella Bell. They're like these white bells. They're like flowers, though. You're chasing them after those. I think there's only like one per world, but I did unlock one. But a majority of the game is what y'all are doing and the 4K graphics.
Yoshi's feeding time.
Like, I know they improved the graphics because my webcam looks inferior to like the background on here.
I don't like the jet run. That shit.
Fruit lover. Fruit lover and no badge or what's that? Boosting spin jump. First time I use a badge.
Whoever feeds the most wins. Eat, eat, and eat some more.
Is Yoshi riding Yoshi?
Yeah.
Ha!
Yoshi's holding Yoshi.
If you are a Yoshi riding a Yoshi, like, comment, subscribe, share.
Come here. Come back with that one.
The current leader is
Vicky.
I thought I said Peach.
I thought it was Vicky. Oh, I figured out how to run. Okay. Haha. You're screwed.
I hate that little weasel thing.
Am I? My thing is fat too. That's humongous. That's what she said. Ooh!
Jeez.
Good job, Jane. Oh, my eyes. I shouldn't automatically think I'm gonna win everything.
Hey, when it comes to eating, the fat girl always wins.
No, I'm not gonna do that one. I'm not gonna do that one. Instead,
You're number one.
we'll do this.
Oh, yeah.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Oh, sorry.
I'm at work, gonna pull up for the next stream. Okay, thank you, Voli. We appreciate you.
What's this one?
Oh,
Oh, we
yeah.
just did this one. Oh, let's do the mask one. Remember the mask? How bad it was in the second game?
Yeah, gave me nightmares as a kid.
You know that they still haven't come out with a character for it. Like,
Not in recent times, man.
This is gonna give me nightmares because all I'm gonna hear is this little song.
Fanto tag.
Phantom Pen.
oh, it's tag. That's cool. That's interesting.
Tiger Woods was arrested and charged for DUI.
Again?
Property damage and refusal to submit.
When they finally did submit him, he blew nothing. They should just leave that black man alone. He's sad enough.
Let him enjoy his alcohol.
For real.
That's all he has left.
I mean,
His career is done after that injury.
it's been. You know how many back surgeries he's had? Like,
Too many.
it's ridiculous. I feel bad for him. One of the all-time greats, hands down. But
Doesn't have a brain, though.
no, it's on the wrong side of the head.
Wrong side of the body.
Duh.
Whoever's it at the
And
end.
what did they say? So you should have just left Tiger alone, because when he had his mistresses, that's when he was at the top of his game. When everybody found out about it, that's when he started, playing like shit.
Oh, shoot.
Switch places.
I win. No. Who won?
Boys.
Yeah, we did.
I could get my Y and A mixed up.
Are you gonna retry that one?
I didn't press it.
I didn't.
I did drop my remote.
Oh.
We don't have to.
I will say this. When this came out, I thought, hey, this is better than Mario World, and it should be because it's newer. But it doesn't hold that same replay value with these badges. I don't know why. I guess it's just some of them do more for me than others. Like the bubble one is probably the best one to me.
Alpha does it for me.
I guess I'll take that.
Yeah, well, Flower, you got anything?
Got any upcoming plans?
There?
Anywho.
At the end loses. Who's first to be hit?
I got some.
You're it. Why me? I'm the real deal. Why me? Switch places.
Oh, no.
Switch places.
Ah! Girls won this time.
Woo! Girls rule, boys drool.
I'm a He-Man woman hater.
You blame us for trolling over here?
I'm not gonna drool.
Mr. Number One player.
Number one stunner. What?
Coin Drip Guru. That sounds like some strip club in Fayetteville. Shout out to Fayetteville, North Carolina.
J. Cole.
Ooh. KO Arena. So there's your Smash Bros.
Is it? Oh, we just beat the.
So
Whoever takes down the most enemies.
Yeah.
Oh, this sounds fun.
free for all.
Shuffle Arena.
Yo, mom.
That's what Swerve said.
It's 9 p.m.
He just randomly talks, and, you know, I'm just.
I mean, he's right. It's 9 p.m. And here we go.
Here we go again.
On my own. See, it's a good picture.
Who are y'all waiting on?
Okay, my bad.
Did you know Billy Idol is not in the Hall of Fame? Not in the Hall of Fame.
Idol or Eilish?
To win.
Billy Idol.
Oh.
Square up.
Oh, Mario, what the hell?
All right, finally.
I'm an elephant.
I've never seen the toad as an elephant.
I don't know.
Hey,
What am I? A baker? I don't know what I am.
You have the drill power,
I don't know what that means, but
the drill mushroom, where you can like make blocks above you, can go inside them.
let me tell you again. I just hit buttons. I don't really know what I'm doing.
I was trying to figure it out too.
So the person who has the drill power should be able to get through there.
Nobody has drill.
Oh, you have to kill the other enemy first. Y'all missed one.
Makes sense.
I'm like, I'm drilling as hard as I can, sir. I'm drilling no harder.
Let's go to the next room.
This looks fun.
This looks
I like how they just left Toad. Isn't that bubble power the best?
I have no powers.
At least for this one.
It tells you the top where it says 1 to go. Tells you how many.
I got it.
Mario in the lead with 8.
Keep going.
Luigi with 6. Toad with 5.
0. She hasn't killed anybody because she was having a stupid fucking drill. Now she's got nothing.
The current theme is Mario.
Why do I get to drill again? Damn it.
I'm a flower.
I got nothing. What's up with the drill? Said you kind of look alike. I don't know.
Sorry, guys.
Next up, double points.
Ooh, this way you guys can catch up.
Triple points.
Oh, finally. Oh, I'm a bubble. Bubbles.
Mario is changing so many outfits.
I'm a drill again.
Where am I? Oh.
I think I got 2.
You got 8. But y'all are earning me water. That's what it showed at the bottom. Some kind of water. Maybe the water.
Pour on the plant.
Maybe that's what that's
Yeah.
for.
Sure we can't just pee on it?
I don't think so.
Alright, I had seen the Battle Royale down here.
First one I watched.
Yeah, there you go. Kick, the wrong people barrage. That seems too hard.
Poor Vicky.
Y'all can do teams or free for all.
Survival challenge.
Remember, y'all can pick badges to make it easier for your Toad. Don't go in there with nothing. Whoever's Toad needs to pick something.
Whoever has the most lives at the end wins. Careful now. Don't fall.
Don't fall, forget it.
Let's get going.
Oh god.
Wow.
Shit! Alright, this is. Yeah.
Peach was very sneaky.
Damn it. Yeah, I lost this one.
Oh god.
Oh,
It's still close.
No! How did I miss
oh, I
that?
missed that one.
Luigi
No!
let you get that one up.
No! I went straight to the bottom. No!
Oh!
Damn it.
Oh, shoot, I thought.
Me? Ah!
So I
I
think y'all missed the objective. So you're supposed to stay up, keep the platforms from falling, but you're supposed to have the most lives. So those one-ups that are coming out, you're
Yeah,
supposed
that's
to be
why I was
getting
trying
them.
to get that one up.
So whoever was Luigi was jumping past them and lets you get one of
You
them.
want to retry again?
That looked fun though. It
That
looked
was
chaos.
fun.
Retry.
It looked like chaos, but
Okay.
I was like, I wonder if they know what you're supposed to do there. So when you pick those badges, you want to pick ones that will keep you from dying as much.
Or help you kill the other people.
Yeah, so like a safety bounce. Look at that one. That one's a good one to have.
We can bounce if we want to. We can leave our lives
Whoever has the
behind.
most lives at the end wins.
Dancing if they
Who
don't
will
mess
be
with
number
my
one?
friends of mine.
Now you're going to have that stuck in my head for at least 10 minutes.
Let's get going. Don't mind if I do.
Go.
Oh boy.
Where am I? I'm not seeing where I'm falling.
Because Luigi is like right on you.
No, I don't know where to go.
Shit.
Certainly,
I see something.
halfway there.
She said, I'm going to commit seppuku.
No, crap.
Oh, the cloud. That cloud is a lifesaver.
There we go. Oh, we got a life and we got did not. Yeah, that sucks.
But it's a lot easier for me watching y'all to see it than to be playing it as well. Because I can already see
Yes.
how
Like I
chaotic
literally
that.
can't see Peach when she's tiny like that.
Yeah.
I can't see her against the background.
One more time. One more time. I
What did he say? Run it back?
One more
Run
time,
it
one
back,
more
one
time.
time,
I gotta
one
run back.
one more again.
Whoever has the most lives at the end wins. Time to square up. Let's get going.
Oh god. I give it away.
Sorry I'm late.
Second quarter, 3 minutes left. Duke is up 73-69
Oh.
against St. John.
73-69?
Yep, three,
That's not bad.
3 minutes left. St. John has a chance to steal that.
Oh!
Shit!
Damn!
The one time I actually died. Ha!
By one.
Hey, y'all are getting better at it, though.
Not really.
You don't think so?
I'll try it again.
Ah!
Poor Vicky's like, please let the torture stop.
You'll get to pick next 4, Mickey.
Well, can y'all all not get the safety bounce? Can only one person get it?
No.
Okay.
I'll pick it.
What?
Everybody can
We
pick
can
it.
all pick it if we want to.
Okay. Okay, alright. And I see it gain an extra life, so.
Whoever has the most lives at the end wins. Careful now, don't fall. Let's get going.
No, 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 no. Damn it. Power.
Stop.
Oops. I lost this one.
Oh,
No!
Don't worry about me.
don't worry about me.
Sorry, I'm late.
Oh, I'm dead. Bam, I suck this time.
Damn, that helped Javi out a lot. That last one up you got helped you out a lot.
Yeah.
I couldn't even get a one up that time.
Yeah, you couldn't
I
get
kept
it up.
just.
You couldn't
I
get
couldn't
it
get it
up.
up. I couldn't get it up.
Evidently neither can St. John. Now it's 72 to 77 Duke. With a minute, 16 seconds left.
There's plenty of time. Shoot a couple threes.
And that's what they're going to have to get at least one.
This is about.
Because after that, what is it?
Survival challenge.
Elite 8.
Who's playing good right now?
I mean, Duke, UConn's still in it. I'm hoping.
Alabama's still in?
Yeah, Alabama's, I think, playing right now.
Each other now.
Alabama's playing Michigan, and then you got Michigan State, UConn at 9:45.
UConn's good, though.
Yeah. And then at 10:20, you got Tennessee and Iowa State, Iowa, Illinois, and then you got Purdue and Arizona. Those are all the teams that are playing.
What are we playing?
Well, they still got a chance to get knocked out.
That's
before-
another battle royale.
Final
This
four.
one we're able to attack each other with power ups and stuff like that.
Kinky.
So what you're saying is you have a chance.
We'll find out.
Whoever has the most lives at the end wins. Time to square up. Let's get going.
You can do it!
No, I'm dead.
Do it.
Halfway there.
I don't even know where I am.
Oh!
Yeah, I landed right on a
God,
ball.
I have like no lives left. I can't. Where am I? Oh, there
I
I am.
win.
Javi's killing it.
Don't call me Latino here for nothing, brother.
We'll try.
Did he say retry?
You can score in video games, just not in life.
Oh.
That's not true. I can score in real life. I'm just having a dry spell.
You need to go sit on the washing machine.
Yeah.
Here I am.
There you go. that flower sure do has a pretty mouth.
No, that's right.
Whoever has the most lives at the end wins. Who will be number one? Let's get going.
Oh, I'm dead.
Oh! I like how Peach is just hanging out.
Shut up.
No, because I'm looking at one side, I'm like, where are all the crates? And I look at your side, I was like, all the crates are still there.
Peach and Luigi's like, we're tired of this shit.
I'm dead, I can go around.
I win. Ah!
Oh, tie. She won too.
That's right.
I killed most people though.
I don't care. You don't get no gold star for that shit.
Make sure you die.
So y'all are running it back again? Somebody really likes this one.
baby.
I'll give you a guess.
Whatever my baby wants, he gets.
I want my baby.
32 seconds left. 74-77.
That's a good score.
And
You wouldn't know.
So,
St. John's has the ball at the foul line.
oh, that's good. That's really good.
14 seconds left now, though. So they got to make one and miss the other one and try to get a 2 after that.
Oh, on August 11th, they have hockey tickets, 2 tickets for $20.
For Greensboro?
Yeah. At least that's what it says. 2 tickets for $20. Or $19.89.
I just paid $50 for some Evanescence tickets.
I'm sorry.
Evanescence?
I don't
Shit.
know.
You kidding me? That's an awesome band. Amy, what's her name?
I didn't think the tickets are still available. You said you just got them?
Yeah.
How much were they?
I got them 50.
50? Because I think Ann had them like a long time ago.
I got
Whoever
Long
has the
tickets.
You got 'em
most
from
lives at
Mexico.
the end wins.
avocados from Mexico.
Let's get going.
Damn you. I'll get you now.
You can do it. All night. Oh.
Yeah, Jamie won this one.
Oh,
Oh, I don't know where I am.
now Jamie took that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I saw Vicky's
She got
strategy.
me.
I won't say what it was, but I saw her strategy. I was like, oh, okay. Sometimes it can help. Sometimes it's just, I don't know.
Okay, Vicky, now you can pick wherever you want to go.
It doesn't matter if I lose anyways. So
That's not the attitude to have.
Let's go to a different
Look.
place.
I have a low bar, and if I win or whatever, cool. Then we're good.
Come up here, guys. Come up here. See, there's stuff up here. There's co-op.
Challenge.
Is there more stuff up? Oh,
Captain Toad.
we can cross. Look, cross. What's that? Okay. Yeah, I don't think you can go up there. Versus. Ooh. Run, hide, frontal tag. Boing, boing, bouncy ball race.
She was said about bouncy ball race.
My eyes are burning.
You want some weed?
No, I'm good. You should have put me to sleep.
Yeah, Mr. Take away. Unavailable.
I'm jealous because you can't get a woman.
I can get a woman.
You
The
can't
problem
keep
is
a
not.
woman.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
the problem.
Take a look at him. Alright.
Damn, dude, why are we?
I feel like we're the good fairies.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do what you want, man.
We'll come along. We're fairly odd queens. Here we come. You're a whole snack and I'm a buffet.
It's up to you.
That was the baby Yoshi.
Smack him.
Baby Yoshi's feeding time.
Just say no, man. I'll be in first or second. One or two. I'm that damn good.
Okay.
Who used to say that?
I'm trying to remember now.
Right? You know what I'm talking about? Those are wrestlers that said that.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep. That is rain.
Right. I'm obsessed with this.
Come on,
band. Yeah. Bearded Dragon.
Bearded Dragon.
Yeah. His name is Reggie. He's a sweetheart.
Reggie Fils-Aimé.
That's my best
Peach.
friend's
You gotta
name.
pick some.
Peach.
Huh?
You gotta pick.
Oh, Reggie.
Are we
Yeah, she
playing?
was fascinating with Reggie over
I
here.
was looking at his update. He gets a daily update.
She likes his beard.
He do. Sometimes it turns black. When he gets upset, he's sassy.
Oh.
Sassy Reggie.
Yeah, my best friend is sassy.
He is. I like him. How's he doing?
Whoever
Dude,
feeds
wait till
the
you get
most
operated, so-
wins.
His feet are all jacked up.
Uh-huh.
So he's gonna get the one right or left operated.
Okay. Oh no. That big spike.
Oh shit.
Everyone, you got this.
My boy's fat. Look at his fat ass.
And I'm at the bottom.
My name's too fat. I can't get him up there.
Fat baby. Get in my belly. fat.
I feel like you should be like, not the mom.
Alright, my eyes are hurting. Here, Leonard, you can play.
I'm about to head out here shortly anyway.
Where you going, man? Who said you're leaving?
I gotta go. Well, yeah, but I'm yeah.
Well, you can switch to a different game now. We have the most people watching right now as Alpha. So we're ready to go. So let's actually. Did anybody put the water in anything? There's 195 of that.
Oh.
Does it actually go anywhere?
Or no, go back, go to the little flower.
Well, I think player 1 needs to do it. Or
I guess you can, baby.
Here you go. Send this to Leonard.
where do I go?
Back to the little fountain thing. Like, yeah, maybe it's over there. Yeah.
Oh, so you can like make more.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so
We're
those are.
blooming some flowers.
Are they?
Yeah,
Is it beautiful colors?
I think so.
Amazing!
Amazing. I knew it.
I knew it!
Knew it.
I didn't know it. You gotta work tomorrow?
This one time at band camp.
No, I got my mom's chicken back in the coop.
You would think they would say, "It's raining. We're gonna go back in." They really try to take the Mario Party Jamboree mini game of like decorating and put it in this heart eyes.
It's not bad, but it's not.
No, it's not bad.
It's okay. Right, sir?
It said quiet days can be fun too, or something like that. That looks cool. By equipping a dual badge, 2 badges at a time. Two girls, 1 badge. So y'all want to jump to the feud after this, or just to Mario Party?
I'm up for whatever.
I'm heading home, so it's all like, yo.
So I'm just kind of killing time, watering this stuff. Oh wait, I'm gonna end up watering some of the same ones twice.
Oh.
Dolphin kick.
Uh-huh.
Oh. Baby, show me what a dolphin kick looks like.
Is there anywhere else to
Sure,
water?
seal clap.
Oh, there's stuff over here too.
I'll show you a skull crusher.
Where did I see that? The Boys.
Oh, I haven't seen
You ever
that.
seen that?
No.
When does the last season come out? Isn't it
yeah,
soon?
April.
It's like next month.
Yeah, this coming month, yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen the new episode of Daredevil?
No, I know it came out like the other day.
Yeah. Yeah, so The Boys, I think it's like season 2, maybe.
So Anne's supposed to be coming back tonight. I'm sorry.
She's
I don't know.
She's gonna stop dinner
She's
or
like super fun.
I don't know.
And he makes her come. Yeah,
because I really don't know what the whole arrangement was with that. I know just still just saying I'm putting something in the mail from your house is going to end.
It's bigger.
Yeah.
And Ikaria.
I mean, I can always tell them to come by here.
Pops like a fucking chair.
Or when I bring Vicky back, I can
Okay.
have them meet me and drop it off. That's probably what I'll do.
This should already be there anyway.
Yeah. I'll just tell Kari, hey, meet me.
Baby, we got plans tomorrow.
Tomorrow's Trey's birthday.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, I'm gonna have a spa day.
I mean, even though it's not till the evening until 5:30.
Okay.
But
Do you wanna get lunch?
I'll let you know.
Okay. I'm gonna get my hair cut and my nails did and my eyebrows waxed.
Okay.
I gotta take this mullet off. I have a conference next week.
She's gonna shoot it
I
up.
gotta look
No
professional.
freaking way. No, don't do it. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh my god.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, they hit the baseball game, didn't recognize you with the haircut.
Yeah,
Did you remember you the long
Yeah.
hair?
She hasn't seen me since the surgery either.
Okay.
Hey, sexy boy.
Sexy girl.
All right, y'all. Well, we're going to end it here. We will return shortly. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share. We'll be back with a little bit of Family Feud, followed by some Mario Party. For myself, for Vicky, for Javi, for Alpha, Dog, Wolf, and for Jamie.
That's me.
We will see you in the next one.
That's what you want, huh?
Okay, somebody hand me the other Pro controller. That one, yeah.
Sit down, Paul.
And y'all just want to do one team or 2 versus 2?
Do one team.
Okay.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
All right. We'll have to pass the controller all the way around.
Oh, we'll just have you do it. We'll just.
No.
No.
Not signing up for that.
We'll just have one person then. It's not gonna be me because I'm way too high.
As always, it is Other Yellow Hat Guy here, back with another video.
Yeah, because you didn't want to be predictable. You should have said it every time. Yeah. Okay. All right. Shit.
All right, so we're playing some Family Feud.
You mess with that bull, you get that hard.
So we're gonna play against the computer.
Yeah.
You know what? It would have been fun to try this for once. Broadcast your game live and let your viewers guess. But they're already doing that.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like where you would connect to the network
Oh.
and the game would be on like Twitch or something like that. It requires a capture card. Live show for Switch only works if the console is placed into the dock. Yeah, we know all that. You are not connected to the network. Online features will be disabled. Like, I don't understand that, but I also don't care.
Okay.
Single.
We can do multiple. That way everybody else. Nope, we're doing multiple.
I'll do single. I want text.
All right, y'all grab the other controller.
Hey, okay.
I like the music though.
Oh, the music is great.
I think we might need to change the name.
Yeah.
Because as far as I remember, it says fuck hobbies.
Well, it's been more than 30 seconds, so we can leave it like that.
Hiya.
I don't know what was in there.
Player 2 join in.
Hi. Hello.
Which one am I?
Hiya.
Hiya.
That's me.
Joel.
Buddy.
Joel.
Johnny.
Alright. Since you don't want FU hobby.
I mean, we're not going up against me today.
Is it FU somebody? What is it?
Nah. Pollen Busters?
Paul and Busters?
Pollen.
Paul and oh. That's a lot to type. I should have you type it.
No, DEI Fridays is always my go-to.
Alright.
It's all capitalized.
I don't have time for that.
Okay.
I always go with Jonas's favorite. Lily Liver Spring Queens.
See, it auto,
Does it? Okay.
yeah. Very hard.
Ooh,
Oh boy, oh
that's what she wants. Ain't that right, Vicky?
TGIF.
Ow! She bit me.
Oh my god.
4-1, it's me, Lucky McCoy.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us here.
What's the moon doing?
What did he say?
What's the moon doing? Race.
This family wants to win it all. And they'll be playing against our toughest team of champions.
The dream.
The dream
Oh,
team.
creepy.
Wow.
yeah.
Our
Oh.
families will be playing out to answer your surveys. Whoever scores the most points goes on
More
to
than
Fast
3
Money
ways
for the
to skin a
chance to win a
cat.
lot of cash and a brand
Did you say
new
something
car.
about a three-way?
Oh, I'm trying to remember what movie that's from.
What?
Let's roll.
What? There's like a no. What she said.
Yeah. Was it Office
Let's
Space?
get things off.
The
with a
neighbor?
good old face-off.
Might have been. That's our
Oh.
second.
The bullet?
This time.
Yeah.
Get yourselves over here.
God, what's his name? Oh.
What
Yeah.
would somebody do? What would you do if somebody came up and said,
I'm just still.
I did two girls at the same
Yeah.
time.
I'm still trying to think of the wrestler.
Yeah.
It says, what would you do if somebody came up to you and said,
You've got an
let's
answer
say you
to
got
the
kids
survey
on Mondays.
questions. If you're
Oh, hell no,
to
man.
find the
Yeah.
number
Don't
one
say none of that shit,
you get
man.
to decide
I'm
if
still
you
trying to
get
think of the
asking
wrestler that's like, because I'm just that.
100
Damn.
people gave us an answer
Good.
to this question.
Oh, I don't remember.
Name something you didn't know you wanted until the neighbors
I don't
got
remember.
it. Go for it.
Damn, I'm slow.
Sure thing. Did
Cool.
our survey agree?
Financial stability.
Dang, that was number one.
The big moneymaker.
Do y'all have anything?
You want to play or do you want to
Airplane.
New
force them?
car.
Not that good.
A garden, a deck.
Kids.
You gotta play
Dog.
after a great answer.
Dog. Yeah, dog is probably a good one.
Lawnmower. Fence.
A bigger
What's
house.
your answer?
Addition. Yeah.
A pool
All
boy.
right, let's try it.
Hey.
Pizza boy.
Show me
Cabana.
that answer.
Sports
Yep.
car.
Yeah, I should. Why don't I think of that before pool
I
boy?
said car.
Hey there. Looks like it's your
What
turn.
wrestler had the phrase, I'm that damn good?
Answer accepted.
Oh.
Is it up there?
Triple H. How the fuck did we not remember that?
Spouse.
Because I just remember,
Yes.
at the end of every word.
I still felt like it was somebody less popular than him.
No, it was Triple H. I'm that damn good. I'm the game.
Balcony. No.
They've got a lot of money. They're definitely dreaming.
Oh, really?
Alright, what is it? What's
Hear
the
that
question?
noise?
Name something you didn't want until the neighbors had it.
A fence.
I think a fence is up there.
What will
A
you go
garden. Like she
Neighbor's
said.
wife.
The white spouse is already up
Say it
there.
out loud. They're gonna
for?
hear
Say it.
you.
Is that answer good enough?
Boat.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Oh, they already know, so they did have spouse.
Yeah, I told you that.
A fountain.
So what's your guess gonna be?
A pet?
Yep, I
Here
said
we
that.
go then.
Lawnmower said
Is
that.
that one of the remaining answers?
It's got to be pet.
They did hear me.
You
Oh.
got the right idea.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucked up.
I never wanted a lawnmower because my neighbors had one. But anything, it's like, I want you to cut my grass. Or the guy you have cutting your grass, I want him
heard
over
my
here.
parents talk about wanting my neighbors.
They fucking heard me.
Not even the electric
Is that one
lawnmower.
of the ones we're still looking for?
No, she took it.
Now I'm saying for money,
Oh.
he got that electric lawnmower.
Yeah.
Look at that beautiful
Yo,
boy.
they really can
Almost
hear us.
full.
These sons of bitches.
AI.
I'm telling you, the next one is garden, just like Vicky
Oh, this
said.
is so exciting.
Because it's
There's
talking
just
about the
one
landscaping
uncovered
and
answer
the
up there.
flowers and stuff, not just the, like a food garden.
Okie dokie.
TV,
That's a good one.
that's a
Let's see
good
if that's a
one.
correct answer. TV.
Whoa!
You've cleared the board.
Duke won 75-80.
They'll put up a
Congratulations.
fight.
So, where are we with the scores? That's just one
First
round
round, dude.
down.
It's okay.
We've got so much fun left to have here.
Dream team.
Are you ready for a face-off?
Yeah.
Who's playing? Let me see you up front.
Go, Vicky, you're so fine, you're so fine, you blow my money, Vicky.
That's
Oh.
me.
That's big new things every week.
It's Javi.
Thanks.
Buzz in first to answer.
I
Get
don't
ready.
have a song for
We
Javi.
conducted a survey of
You know,
100 people for this.
You just say it's Javi, baby, like the Jay-Z.
Something
No.
you should be
I was
Jay-Z
thinking
song, it's Hobie,
Javi
baby.
Maria, Javi Maria.
Or you could always just give him a Lewis song from
Do the impossible, stop the unstoppable. Blah, 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 blah. It's Javi, baby. Just change that song.
You sure about
A
that?
ginger?
The survey said.
I guess fire. Yeah,
Fire.
the same thing.
Sorry, but no. Can you find the
A
top
wall
answer?
socket.
It's still up there. Name something you should be careful not to stick your finger in.
So I watched Teeth the other
The
night.
neighbor.
Boiling water. Huh?
I watched Teeth the other night.
Uh-huh.
Movie where this girl has
Let's see if that's a
teeth
good
in her
answer.
vagina. Yeah. It's probably not up there, but
Probably.
What the fuck?
I just said boiling water.
On the board.
Shut up, Jamie. Give us answers.
Play or pass?
they passed.
Oh,
Or they're
dang.
saying
They'd
passed.
rather pass than play? Fine by me.
Okay.
Have you got
Vagina.
something for us?
No, I don't.
Stove.
No.
Let's not stick your finger.
Light socket.
That's what I was gonna say.
Acid. I would put chemicals.
There it is.
Socket.
Okay.
Yes. Is that one of the ones we've got left?
Although
Yes.
water is like a chemical.
Suck it.
To me, bitch.
We found the most popular answer.
Good job.
What do you have for us?
Name something you should be careful not to stick your finger in.
Your pet.
Ew.
Oh.
Bomb.
Your spouse.
Some kind of electrical appliance that can cut your fingers. A garbage disposal.
Yeah.
There it is.
Good
I see
answer.
where you're going
You
with
don't want to
this.
stick your hand in there, so.
Is it up there? Let's hope so.
Your ear?
Garbage disposal. It's not there, which means you get a strike.
The hell are you thinking?
Audience at home, help us.
Yeah.
Name something you should be careful not to stick your finger in.
A pie?
Stove.
I think stove, but that's just one finger though. Who?
Yeah, who sticks
One finger in a stove.
This thing's one finger in a fucking boiling water.
To kind of
Trying
test
to test
it
how,
out.
yeah.
Oh, it's on me. Crap.
I guess go with stove to see if or pan. Yeah.
Not it, but
That's
I
good.
tried.
Show me the answer.
'Cause I feel like boiling water is still up there.
You've got another strike on the board.
Shit, okay.
Dang. I can't think of things you would just stick one finger in. I could see like your whole hand.
Yeah.
What, are you gonna stick your finger in a pencil sharpener?
I don't know.
I'm telling you, ear, man. Stick your finger.
Just try
up
ear.
your nose.
Ear, nose, one of them. Butthole,
Face, throat. I don't know.
your butt.
Blender.
No. You should try ear or nose or something. Black? What are you trying to pick?
2, 1.
BL?
Got it. I want to see.
Well, we lost that.
Yeah, but are they
No
gonna
matter
get it?
what.
Strike three.
The problem is, are they gonna get it? Because they fucking passed
Down the
too.
track at this.
Yeah, they're the computer that knows all the answers though.
If you want to steal this round, you need to find me a missing answer. Is it there? If it is, you've scored a steal. If not, the points go straight over to the other side.
Fan. Damn!
Okay,
Why would you?
No,
let's see if you're right.
Didn't somebody say that?
no.
Fan,
I thought somebody said fan or pan.
I said pan.
you didn't find what we wanted.
P-A-N.
Okay.
Yeah, man, they
Oh,
thought
Woo, we still got it. What the hell
the
is the
heck
other
are
two?
You're catching up.
It's probably ear.
What are the answers we didn't find? What's the fourth answer?
I.
Oh.
Show me the number 3 answer. Super
Super
glue.
glue.
Ah, I thought glue,
Oh,
but
fuck.
I thought like
I would've
sticky
never.
stuff like
Let's see
tar.
where we're at.
You got this.
When
Vicky.
was
I
it enough to
literally
take the
thought
lead?
about
The
I
scores
whenever
are
it was
getting
flipping
closer.
over.
Fuck these fucking
Let's play another game. Okay, I need someone from each family to join me up front.
all right, let's go.
You don't
We've
look
got a
like
full
King
board
like
of
a
8
queen.
answers this time.
Crap
Time
down
to
with
raise
the
the stakes.
patriarchy
We're doubling the points.
and the monarchy.
We
Apparently.
took a survey of 100 people, asking them, name a slang expression for the phrase, be quiet.
Shush.
You're up first.
Hush.
Shut up.
Quiet.
Oh, she's really going for shut up?
No. This is why I should not be doing this.
Shut up is the most.
Oh,
Shut your trap.
All right. Let's take a look.
I didn't see shut up. So.
I saw it. It was on the
Hey,
bottom.
it's on there.
Nice job, but it's not the number 1 answer.
It's gonna be shut up.
Do you have an answer? Name a slang expression for the phrase, be quiet.
Lock
No.
it.
No.
Going with?
I've never heard
And
that.
what did our survey say?
Family bambouche.
Lock your lips.
Silencio, por favor.
You guys
Not
wanna
in
play
the
it?
survey.
I can't think of. I know it's shush and hush.
Shut up.
And silence. It's up to Vicky.
Oh.
No.
I don't know. What do you want to do?
I say play.
don't care. You feel confident in thinking of other.
Yeah, I do.
I'll ask again. Do you want to play or pass?
I told you the ones I know. I said hush and shush. That's it.
So should I pass or play?
Play.
The top answer's still up there. Let's hope the rest of this family got this.
Because on one hand, you get like 3 more of them, and you help them get the last one.
Time for your guess.
It's
Shut up was up there.
Shut your pie hole.
Shut the front door.
Shut the front door. Yep, exactly. I almost said what I wanted to
Shut your
say.
ass up.
I'm glad you said the PG version before I said the
You can't do
non
better than that. Top answer.
the non PG version.
Get your
Alright.
hidden face on.
You
It's
can-
your go.
Do one of the ones that you know, like hush.
Yeah.
I would just keep doing
Yeah, SH.
yeah, because it brings up a whole bunch.
There you go, hush.
No, but I know this is definitely
You
one.
have an answer.
Yeah,
Shush.
Survey says,
your turn.
hush.
There you go.
Oh,
Only
yeah.
3 though.
Well, I got 66 of them, of the points.
Name the slang
so,
expression for the phrase.
and there are 6 others, so there's only a few for each one.
Steele's favorite word. Silence!
That's what I was thinking as one, but
Silence!
Shut your pie hole.
Really? Shush it
No,
down
it's
there.
SH. No, delete.
S-U-K.
SSSHH.
Right there.
Yeah, or SH. Yeah. Sorry.
Ah, yes.
Shush.
Did our survey say it? Shush.
Yep.
Shush.
It's there.
Shush, hush.
You saw the shut your pie holes on there, right?
You got anything for us?
stop talking. You shut the front door.
Shut it.
Shut
All
your
those
pie
are
hole.
all those are good.
Yeah, shut the front door. Shut your mouth. All
I
of
say
them.
shut the front door a lot.
Shut your mouth.
Oh,
It isn't there. First strike. But
You
still
got
it.
this.
I know.
Jamie.
Think you've got a good answer? Let's hear it.
Cállate.
if only this was the Spanish version.
I was gonna say stop it.
Cram it.
Good. Okay. Could it be up there? Let's find out. Stop.
What?
That's your second
Like
strike.
it?
Like
Like stop.
Or stop talking or something like that.
Yeah.
It's your go.
The stop
What
could
do you
be
think?
stop moving versus.
Like when you're in an argument with somebody.
Did we try silence?
We haven't tried it.
Silence.
That's what you think, huh?
Oh, well, I guess that's not it.
Let's run with it.
That could be our third one. Damn!
It's our 13 threes and
Remember, it's supposed to be a slang.
Sorry, folks.
She
There's an
sells
opportunity to
seashells by the
steal here.
seashore.
That's not it either.
What did he say?
She said
This family finds
she's
just one
something
answer.
seashells by the seashore.
Somebody sells seashells by the seashore.
All S words, but
Name
not
a
the ones
slang
we need.
expression for the phrase "be quiet."
Shush. Like S-H.
Put a sock.
Sock in
It
it.
is.
Dang, that is a good one.
Time to find out.
I've
if
never
it's up
said
there.
that in my life.
I've said it once or twice.
I think Lauren said it before.
Yes!
Oh,
We get 60 something points. 70.
156.
Oh, we get all of those. That's right.
Second time that's happened.
This round is yours. What were our leftover
Cram
options?
it. Cram it's got to be in there.
Number 7, not so lucky this time.
Shove it.
Shove it.
Pipe down.
down.
I don't. Whoever says
One
that.
came in 6th
I heard
place.
that.
Shut
Shut
Oh!
Door.
I knew it was there.
Number 4.
Shut your trap.
Yeah.
Shut your
Shut
trap.
your All the ones that were up there.
Third answer.
Shut
Shut
it.
it. Shut it.
A lot of
Shut it.
shit.
I'm surprised
Let's find out
Stop
who's in
wasn't up
charge.
there. 'Cause I literally say that all the time.
Stop.
In the name of love, before
You don't think they're gonna come back with a vengeance on this next round because it's triple the points?
No, fuck them guys.
Time for the face-off.
Who's got to face off? Jamie, that's you.
Sure.
Each team, join me over
You
here.
got this, Jamie. You better. Don't make us look bad, Jamie.
Can't help it.
Guess you look so
Team's
good.
got 4 answers to find.
Don't tickle me!
All right, now it's
You're about to
still
give me those
anyone's game because for
Other
this
words.
question,
Shut it.
the
Shut your
point
pie
values
hole.
are triple.
Stop.
We took a survey. 100 people.
Silence.
Name something that might be cut short. Fast.
Sex.
You have an answer?
A game.
Yep.
Oh.
I'm
Let's check the board.
the
and
first
see.
immediately, like, because when I cross stitch,
Thread.
like,
I mean, it's possible.
no.
Sorry,
Sex.
not up there.
Conversation.
The number one answer
Call,
is
phone
still a
call. Fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah, you only have
Name
to
something that might be cut short.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Vacation.
vacation.
Yep.
Did any of our
Number one
100
answer.
people say it?
No.
Vacation.
I think it's gonna
All
be
right.
phone call.
The answer is on the board. Play or pass? What's it gonna be?
We're gonna play. No.
They've decided not to play on this one. Can't say I
Okay.
blame them.
Well, that's good for us, though.
Yeah.
All we have to do is get one
Have
and
you
then
got
go
some
fuck up.
food for thought?
All right, Leonard.
Uh-huh.
It's gonna put in phone call. That's what I should have put in.
Philadelphia.
Alrighty then. Did anyone in the survey say this? Phone call.
Conversation.
You hit the target, but it's not a bullseye.
Meeting.
We're still looking for 2 more answers.
Life.
I like meeting.
Oh, hey. It's 10 p.m.
Try life.
Lithuania.
Okay then.
Song?
Our survey
Trip.
says-
Oh no, vacation is trip.
Alright.
Concert?
Yes.
Concert. Okay.
Way to go, Vicky.
We
Because
just-
my Weird Al concert was cut short due to
Oh,
weather.
sorry.
Something that might be cut short.
Don't leave, I'm
I
hanging
was
there.
paying attention to the fact that I have to go next.
Colorado.
Concert's a good one.
Okay.
It's the only one I can think of that's not up there.
Survey said concert.
Dang.
Sorry, it wasn't up there. So I'm gonna have to give you your first strike.
Fuck you, Lucky.
Just one answer to go.
Bro, homie. I'm in High Point, bro.
Ask him something that would be cut short.
A game.
No, not today. Maybe tomorrow.
Pipe?
I mean, we could try.
No, do game.
Yeah. Alright,
Hurry.
Woo! She got that in the nick of time.
It's worth a shot. Is it up there? Game.
Mm.
Alright, think of something else.
Another strike.
It's got to be song. But we said concert and it wasn't up there.
All right, this is it. One answer left.
Should I not? Anybody have anything before I put song?
yeah, try something else.
Like, no,
Oh, pipe.
that's what she was gonna do. Like,
All right.
Do whatever you want.
I'm gonna do pipe, but I think it's song.
Oh, I don't know.
Sure thing. Is it there? Hi.
Hair. Damn it! It's hair.
That's what I was just thinking
Oh.
Shit.
And I'm getting a haircut tomorrow too, y'all.
too. The question is, will they get it?
Okay, hopefully.
Yeah, they're gonna get that. It's hair. It's
You
the
just
easiest
need
one.
one answer, and if it's on the board, the round is yours. Here's your chance. You can do it.
Dinner.
All right. Let's
Nope.
try it.
That's fucking.
No, it's got to be hair.
30 seconds. Dinner.
Eh.
They couldn't do it.
We're all bad at this.
Well, we got two of the
That's
answers.
the third time that's happened.
Oh, my friends, that's 2 rounds in a row. That leaves just one answer to reveal. Come on, let's take a look at that missing top answer. Hair.
Hair.
Yep, there it is.
I did not think about that at all.
Okay, let's see those final scores.
Alright.
The people with the longest hair didn't think hair.
And here's
No,
our
and nobody
winning
even
team.
noticed I cut my hair.
Cause I cut my hair probably the
Folks are moving
I'm
on.
sorry.
the least out of everybody in here.
What a shocker. The top team of True Titans has been toppled. Too bad.
We're actually beating them, and it's on the hardest difficulty. That's just
Yeah. A lot of it's because we're being thrown the thing, and then we could just pass it, or they have
We
to
need 2 people for fast money.
get the
Who
best
wants to play?
answer.
As team captain, you get to choose who will be joining you to play fast money.
Fast money. I'll play with you.
all right.
It's money,
All right, it's time to play.
So silly. Silly dude.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you 5 questions. I want you to try and give me the most popular answer. Now, if your answers combined with your teammates add up to 200 points, you're going to win the jackpot. Okay, let's start the clock. Name an animal that comes in different colors.
Next week.
Animal that comes in different colors.
Peacock.
Lizard.
Dogs, man.
Peacock.
Cats.
Dogs, yeah. Dog.
Okay.
Oh, I thought they meant like just one animal
When
that
Mr.
has a
Potato Head plays strip poker, what's the first thing to go?
Mustache.
hat.
Shirt.
I feel like it's hat too, but I'm gonna put mustache.
Name a pet
Let
that's
him put
pretty
hat.
useless when it comes to scaring away a burglar.
Fish.
Cats.
You hear that? They're talking shit about you over there.
Name something on you or about you that's off-center.
Huh?
Name something about you that's off center.
Smile.
Name
Personality.
something that makes a kiss tickle.
That's a mustache.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
That's also a mustache.
Or beard.
All right, that's all.
We're gonna just put hair.
Yeah. Mustache.
We're gonna switch over now. You're up next.
I was gonna put tongue. It's like, oh, that's it. That'd be a weird kiss if you put that.
If you do repeat an answer, I'll ask you for another. Okay, start the clock.
Take care of
Name an animal that comes in different colors.
You put dog, right?
Yeah.
the cat.
When Mr. Potato Head plays
So
strip
we said
poker,
hat.
Hat.
No, you said mustache, which I
Well,
put. You
so
should put
The
hat.
next one was hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
name a pet that's pretty useless when it comes to scaring away a burglar.
A cat.
Yeah, I put fish.
Cow.
Name something on you or about you that's off-center.
Your hair part.
Smile is probably yeah.
Yeah.
Name something that makes a kiss tickle.
Beard.
Balls.
Beard.
I'm gonna go with what he said. Because I don't.
That's it.
That's just.
I thought you were gonna put balls. I was like, balls start with the letter B.
That was the final question. I'm sure you both done great. Let's find out.
See, you don't try to pull it on me.
Triple mia, Mama mia.
See, that's a Triple H promo right there.
That comes in different colors.
What is that? Damn good.
Answers.
I feel like I gotta go home.
You got a top answer.
Top answers.
Question 2. When Mr. Potato Head plays strip poker, what's the first thing to go? This is what you said.
Don't
Two
forget
strong
your
answers right
Yeah,
there.
I'm like,
salmon and stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely hat.
You remember the third question, right?
No, I don't.
Was, name a pet that's pretty useless when it comes to scaring away
Fish.
a burglar.
It's still probably cat.
Let's review
Fish is funny,
everything
but-
you said.
I think it's cat.
You should feel confident with these answers.
Guinea pig.
Oh, they were
get somebody multi.
fish and cat.
We asked, name something on you or about you that's off-center.
No.
Here are your answers.
All we need is.
Oh,
So they
breast.
said.
Oh.
Breast was the number one answer.
That's both your scores and my reaction.
Heart.
Oh, damn, dude.
Nose.
That was worth the most points.
Which one?
Nose.
For the final question, we wanted
Nose,
to know.
nose.
Name something that makes a
Mustache
kiss
is number one.
The answers to this one. The jackpot's in your sights.
You got it with that one.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Tom was there.
Do it. You
We
earned
need it.
yourself an impressive victory.
Boom. And we reach level 23.
Way to go. I want to thank both
So that means you can change your costumes now.
Yeah.
Until next time,
Yeah.
save your future. Just be loving.
Oh, he actually said something that looked like it
Just be
wasn't.
loving.
It just didn't sound like it was an asshole statement.
Yeah.
It was almost like a Mencia. If you ain't laughing, you ain't living.
I gotta ask you, have you been,
No.
not you,
Like, comment, subscribe, share.
Like Donald Trump.
Like Dom sub.
yeah.
Fastest
The
answer.
new season of Invincible.
I've not watched it yet. Me and Bernard were talking about it last week.
Dude,
I'm gonna try to watch some of it tomorrow.
I saw the first,
Are all of them out, or just like a first?
I think the first 2 or 3. First 3.
Okay.
4 are out right now, but the first 3 were out for simultaneously.
The fastest thinker and slowest thinker. Other yellow hat guy.
Yeah. Best answer: facial hair. How do I get all of these?
Just about you and Hobby, and I've gotten one. which was
You know why? Because the computer got all of them and couldn't steal. Or we got them and they couldn't steal. I was like, I shouldn't be getting all of them with 4 remotes out. Okay, so we'll do one more game and we'll see you on the next one. We shall return.
Your soul is mine.
Hey, baby.
It's Mortal Kombat, duh. Shake Song.
Done. All right, guys. Thank you for waiting. We are back, and you already know what it is. It is Other Yellow Hat Guy here, back with another video, and we're playing some more, Mario games tonight for you. Today we are taking on some Mario Party Jamboree for the first time in a while. We didn't play last week, and wasn't sure if we played the week before that, but we did. So so Jim lost, or Jim won, excuse me. Javi lost, but Jim is not here tonight. So we are going to put that title back up for grabs.
Oh, shit.
Tonight! Let's do it. Any words, Flower? Yes, to take that title back. Let's do it.
Hell no.
It's time for me to regain what I never lost.
Time to play the game.
It's time to play the game! Yeah, I'm sorry, I ruined what you
And
said.
then the last.
Does everybody have a controller?
Yes,
No.
ma'am.
You sure have a pretty mouth.
Me, sure.
Local. How many folks will be playing?
So, pollen on my face. Dude, that sucks.
The only thing I got to offer.
No.
I don't know why that made me cough.
I have no Benadryl today.
You know, I probably need to buy some more of that.
I have some at
Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom.
work. Should probably set up or I'm gonna fall asleep last time.
Yeah. You already look asleep in the picture here. Everybody else is like erect and upright.
Erect.
Not without my boyfriend here.
Erect and upright. That's what she said?
Yeah. Quick question, man.
Mm-hmm.
This is just me and you.
Me and you. With everybody listening at home.
With
And,
the ladies and listeners.
yeah.
Do you get a lot of like commercials for
Erectile dysfunction.
erectile dysfunction?
Not yet.
Right?
Not yet.
Just call it ED.
Okay, well, I get a lot of that on my like YouTube commercials.
Oh my god.
Like, I
No,
don't
we
know
get
why.
Ozempic commercials a lot.
And I get the like.
Because we're watching Love After Lockup and 90 Day Fiancé, so we're getting those.
It's crazy. I never looked it up, and I never talked about the shit, but I don't know why it's doing it.
Well, it's because you might have looked at one and
I
then
never,
not even on accident.
not even on
Somebody have your phone and look at one.
No.
Did you read any articles about it?
Did you know? It's just whatever videos you're watching. They figure, oh, this guy must be around this age.
I'll give you an example. There's these girls on Facebook that we all know what
Probably
they're
is what you're saying.
we all know what they're doing. They're doing these like clips where they're like wearing seductive clothing or they're bending over or something like that. So you click on one, and then Facebook is just like, oh, here's similar
The
ones.
first couple seconds
Mhm.
meet this criteria.
Meet that criteria, and until you stop clicking on those, then
Well,
they.
people of this demographic tend to click on.
So I send Jamie probably like 5 cat things a day, and that's because I'm looking at so many of them.
Yes.
I don't have to search for them. It's like, oh, I gotta send this one too.
And then
Oh, I gotta send this
what
one
I
too.
get on Facebook are people reacting to those kind of cat videos.
Sit. Stupid gato.
And you know, there are moments where I sit there and think, like, her kids are like, oh, that's hurting the environment because of all the data centers to make these cat videos.
Yeah.
So you guys didn't play last week?
We didn't. We had the ability to. We just decided to chill.
What did we? Yeah,
You were sleeping.
I was sleeping.
I was crocheting, and Leonard was playing.
I played
Yeah,
Pokopia.
'cause I played Pokopia with you for a bit. 'cause we
You
did
did,
game
yeah.
share. And then I fell asleep while we were watching Pokopia videos and cat videos.
And if you guys at home didn't know, you know. Jamie did spend the night for the first time in years.
Yes, actually, yeah. Oh, that's funny that even though I am number 4, it still put me on Peach. Peach is always number 3, which is one of the reasons why I love number 3.
That's pretty weird.
That's so funny.
It knew who we all were being. They're like, we recognize these faces.
It has to be because I'm always number 3 and I'm always Peach. But, I wonder if it just like recognizes. That's fucking weird. Am I just? Oh, maybe I'm just high.
Well, it wasn't on Mario. I had to move to Mario.
Oh.
It wasn't on Yoshi for me.
I had to move mine.
It was on Yoshi for you? No? Oh.
It might have been because like the first 3 characters,
Yeah.
Were
usually
us
play,
and-
yeah.
the 4th in the tile is Peach, so I think that's what actually happened.
I don't know. Let me dream here.
Okay, I'm gonna let you have it.
Seeing Peach in number 3 spot.
They knew it was you and they gave it to you.
Yes. Let me have one good thing happen in 2026, okay?
Aww.
The Alpha knockout.
I got him in 2025. I mean, Alpha is wonderful every day, but yeah.
Okay.
You said you were doing great.
Thank you.
Bravo.
Good luck, everyone.
You good luck.
So I'm thinking this one's gonna be a 10-turn game. I don't think we all have it in us to do more than that right now.
Yeah, that's enough, man.
Mario Party.
It's already late.
I'm gonna
anyways.
tell you what, until you got that little flower there, I never noticed them on any of these games.
Well, we mostly have them turned off.
I'm already in this Alabama. That's so pathetic.
We're gonna just do Mario's Rainbow Castle
Okay.
It's fine.
because
fine
that's
with me.
that one you don't need to like do multiple turns just to get around one time. You can just
I don't think
It's
I've ever played
easier on
it.
the brain.
yeah.
I've won there before. It's okay. Ass mine, Jamie.
No.
Oh.
You're only saying that because my boyfriend's not here. Alpha, it's not true.
In the
My ass is
game,
not
in
his.
the game, dude. Calm down. Shit.
He's saying that because his theory is every time he loses, you're playing. But except we broke that theory the 2
Because
times.
everybody's fucking
2 weeks
ganging
ago.
up on me. Shit.
Oh, it's okay. I know you've always wanted a gangbang.
On me?
Yeah.
Well, why not?
Okay, I thought I was gonna go last.
Third.
No. This is interesting because I don't think I've remembered Jamie ever going first. And
I think I went first once before.
yeah, so this is just you were player 4 and now you're going first. But whenever you play a 3, I don't think I've ever seen you.
Yeah, I know.
Roll
I've done
first.
It one time, one other time.
This is
Yeah,
good-
she's done it one
this
other
is-
time, guys.
This is gonna be
One other
interesting.
time. Way to go, Jamie, doing it once.
Hey, you gotta do it at least once in your life.
Gotta try it.
This will be my second time. See if I remember the rules.
Yeah, you gotta use the ropes, too.
Here we go.
Can I wear the yellow hat for this? I don't know how the yellow hat's gonna look on. We'll do it for you since you watch. We'll see. Does it glitch out? It doesn't look like it glitches out on the camera here, but don't expect me to wear it the whole 90 minutes. That's all you get.
I'm wearing my hat.
Oh yeah, he's got it. See, I didn't tell you which yellow hat guy. There, that's good enough.
Javi is the spare yellow hat guy.
Mario time.
Careful, Vicky.
This is,
Oh, no.
this is awesome.
That's the way to start, buddy.
Slowpoke bonus.
Oh, shit.
Item minigame.
I was scared it's like a duel or something.
I know, right?
I was like, no, I don't have the brain power for that right
You
now.
just started.
I can barely roll the dice.
Oh, that sucks.
No,
Oh, that's a good one.
That makes up for that.
You got an item.
If I can get more than a 6 with both of those, it'd be great.
Give Daddy a 7.
You. When I was doing, I was pulling online orders at work. I showed Leonard the picture,
Nice.
but there was a tag. Somebody named Joe Daddy ordered some items.
I call myself Daddy at home.
Joe Daddy.
Like when I'm talking to my boys.
First name Joe, last name Daddy. Joe Daddy.
Daddy.
So Joe Daddy, if you're listening, I think I pulled your order. I pulled it real good. So like, Dom, and sub.
She's sounding extra sensual for you.
She did. She did.
I feel like I just called a 976 number.
Might have paid too much for that. I wouldn't get anything, Vicky.
Call now.
Who again?
You know, I never thought about that. I probably missed the boat on that.
What?
Like phone sex, where when
I've
we
had
were
phone sex.
no. I'm not saying I missed out on having phone sex. What I'm saying is how everything went to the internet. So like, you know, you can call certain phone numbers and now they're like sex lines, but they weren't originally sex lines. Like if you call the number for Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the NES game, it's now a phone sex line. My point is, who still uses that? And if they do, did they like migrate that to the internet? Like, are there internet websites where you just like listen and people are?
Pretty sure it still is.
Oh no.
Because I feel like I never explored that. Maybe I need to look that up. If you've done this, like Dom. No, leave a comment. Just comment. Don't like. Or you can like too, I guess.
The best question is, Vicky, are you okay with that?
Okay with what? I missed it. I was trying to.
It's just for research purposes.
Wait, what is it?
Why would I mean, I figure you don't need to listen when you can just, you
Not
know,
phone sex hotlines.
you can just watch a
If they
porno.
migrate from 900 numbers over to the internet.
You know what I mean? Now, if you were blind or something, yeah, okay, you should be able to like. But then, if you're blind, how are you getting on the internet?
Looks like
Well,
we're
it's
waiting
easy to
on
get on
Mario.
the internet when you're blind. Remember, my ex-husband is blind.
Okay,
He's
well,
on the internet all the time. He used something called JAWS.
So you
JAWS.
just heard sounds.
It reads to you. It's a
Oh,
screen reader.
oh,
but I don't want to be read porn.
yeah, that's right.
Now,
No, you listen to it.
Oh, stick it in my butt.
No, but you listen to it. It doesn't describe it to you, but it'll tell you like where buttons are and stuff.
oh, okay.
And so you have
Where's that
shortcut
button?
keys. It's kind of like using.
I don't think I want to use the internet if it comes to that. I don't think I want to.
Touch my butthole.
Waiting on you.
Eat it, yeah.
Sorry.
But, I mean, it's just all it does is navigate the browser for you.
Navigate.
But my point was like, if you already have a like the phone sex was because you didn't have a visual medium.
Right. It's like having phone sex.
So if you have the internet, I guess there's no need for it. But maybe you just like listening to how people sound.
I do.
You know, where you're like, hey, I wonder if that person's attractive, and their voice just makes them attractive, even though they may not be.
I mean, some people.
So you're saying, are there still 900 numbers? Is that what you're asking?
No, I know there's still 900 numbers. What I'm saying is a majority of them probably went to the internet, where
Yeah.
instead of paying to hear on the phone, you just plug in your headphones and
Oh my gosh.
run your credit card and hear stuff.
My mom the other day said, I forget who it was or whatever, somebody she saw on some kind of news station or whatever. Yeah, they're on OnlyFans. I said, Mom, do you know what OnlyFans is? And she goes, no. I said, okay.
Oh.
So then I had to explain to her what.
Did she want to get on after that?
No. She has no interest in any of that.
Or her exact words. Oh, God.
Probably.
What do you mean probably? You said you talked to her.
I'm pretty sure that's what she did say.
I mean, with the born and the blind,
Damn.
you have to remember the people who were born blind don't have a visual. I mean, they know roughly what people look like, so they don't really have a visual of what people look like.
Yeah, but I'm not thinking about them. I'm thinking about the people
But
who were
it's
like
the people who
they saw and they
see
lost it.
Oh.
Yeah.
can imagine exactly who they remember as who they found attractive back when they were sighted.
Quick sidebar. Who got the star the other day that we said, "Star me, bitch," and the actual star came out? Was that you, Vicky? Or was that your sister?
I don't think I played last time.
Wow, that happened.
It really happened. You weren't here for it.
No, I think Bernard
Was it
played,
Bernard?
you played, and then the two of them played. She and I didn't play.
Yeah, but who got the star?
I don't
Was
remember,
it your sister?
but I don't remember.
I think it was your sister.
Maybe.
Yeah, it was funny.
So what I'm saying is, if you were sighted before, you already knew who you found attractive. So what you can do is listen to the people having sex. Imagine yourself having sex with whoever it is that you found attractive, whether it be just a generic person that you found attractive or somebody specific that you found attractive. At least that's how he explained it to me. I mean, it just depends on, like, if you were sighted before and blind now, how good your imagination is at the beginning.
Yeah.
At a given time, you have a better imagination. You know, you start to remember things differently. Because, like, Ben, you know, he had no idea what I looked like after, 8 years of us being married. And so he just remembers what I looked like on our wedding day because that was the biggest moment of our relationship. And so that's the age he remembered me by. Forever. That's how he remembers me now, even though I look completely different.
That's pros and cons, I guess.
The cons is he's not settling like you because he doesn't know what he's missing. So a girl can just like, yes, I have red hair, and everyone's looking at her because they know she's a brunette.
Are you talking about Bixby now?
Yeah, not messing with him. Oh, I didn't even get to pick what I wanted. Dang, that's fine. This is what I would have probably picked anyway. I saw domination. I would have probably picked that too. Looks like we're waiting on. Who are we waiting on, Flower? It is. Well, we're not going to bed yet. Dang it, how did I miss that? I'm still missing it. I literally ran over it like 3 times.
Good job, Mario.
Thank you so much. See you next time. Oh, Yoshi sounded. Yoshi did not sound like Donald Glover. They're getting all these A-list people. You get Glenn Powell to play Star Fox. I guess to get the romance
Well, he's
people.
pretty good at voices.
Yeah. Well, he's gonna be
Find
like,
him attractive.
let's
He's
rock
a
and roll.
handsome guy.
He's not to me. I mean, he's not my type.
You don't find him.
Huh?
You don't find him foxy.
No.
If he was black, you'd find him attractive.
I wouldn't. He doesn't have a good-looking face to me. I find white guys attractive too, and Latinos.
Yeah, but
I just find people in general attractive. If I'm looking like just physically and just
physically, that dude is handsome.
no, he's not. I don't find Channing Tatum.
You're
attractive.
wrong.
She doesn't find Channing Tatum attractive.
You're wrong, Colonel Sanders.
I don't find a lot of people that are conventionally attractive.
You see, that's
Go on.
I mean, name like a conventionally attractive guy.
Idris Elba.
Yeah.
Okay, he is attractive.
See, he's black. There you go. Say somebody that's not black.
Bad Bunny.
I don't find him attractive.
Oh,
Enrique
that's right.
Iglesias.
I do.
See?
Bruno Mars. No, nobody finds him attractive. If you're Bruno Mars, like, comment, subscribe, share.
And put on a concert for us.
Yes. I mean, he is coming to Greensboro, but can't afford his tickets.
Yeah.
Tay Diggs.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Really?
Blair Underwood.
You
I
know,
met him.
Have
I'm
you
attractive.
seen,
you never seen how Stella got over?
yeah.
No.
How about
Oh my goodness.
The Best Man?
Never seen it.
The brother, no, not the brother. The Wood.
Private practice.
No.
Shit. Show her a picture of Tay Diggs.
I'm not pulling that up.
Hold on. I
Hey Siri, show me pictures of Tay Diggs.
That dude's fucking handsome.
I don't have an answer for that.
Here he is. Okay, hold on.
He was on.
Oh.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
He was on House on Haunted Hill. Remember that one?
It's scary. I don't watch it.
I
It was
mean,
scary.
he's in that middle ground where he's.
No.
Okay, let me explain.
Let me
No.
explain.
Let me explain.
Okay, Kevin
You just
Hart.
have odd taste, dude.
No, he is very attractive, but not that sexy attractive.
No.
He's that hot friend attractive. He's like that brotherly attractive.
Like
No.
hot friend attractive.
He's that like your big brother's hot friend that you've always thought of as a friend attractive and never thought of in a sexual way attractive.
I can't relate. I'm
Like
sorry.
you can see that he's an attractive man and how anybody would want to hump him in a heartbeat, but you don't find him attractive.
I like how she's like, pay attention. I wouldn't have said
I'm about to
anything.
steal from you.
I'm not gonna do that. She just had the most amount of coins.
Oh, shit.
I don't know. I mean, that's what I think. I mean, he is very attractive, but he's not like I wouldn't hump his
No,
bones attractive.
Dude was at least top 10 for a good 10 years in the 90s.
Oh, here we go. Leo DiCaprio.
Leo.
God, no.
Brad Pitt.
In Fight Club.
Okay, yeah.
Justin Timberlake.
Never.
Really?
Never.
Wow.
Never. Timberlake, not even once.
Nick Lachey, 98 Degrees.
Ew, no.
What about who was in Backstreet? Nick Carter.
No.
Oh, none of the boy bands. Allen Iverson. I'm just spitballing people.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Never.
Magic Johnson.
Cam Newton.
No.
Michael Jackson.
Never.
Fine.
Who?
Fine. I'm Charlie Sheen.
Billy Ray Cyrus.
Okay. Charlie Sheen when he was in
Apocalypse Now.
Younger.
No, when he was
Emilio Estevez.
No, well, when he was in Breakfast Club. But Charlie Sheen when he was in Major League.
Oh, yeah.
I like how Avi's like, yeah.
Dude was handsome. He's Hispanic, you know.
Yeah, we know.
His name is Carlos, or
It's Charlie Estevez.
Carlos Estevez. Emilio! What are you waiting on me for? think about Will Ferrell?
Start.
Adam Sandler. Gary Busey.
Oh.
I was gonna say you named so many that you didn't. I was like, Gary's got to win. Kevin Hart.
No.
Dave Chappelle. Al Bundy. Ted Bundy.
Even if I didn't know what he did, no.
Kirk,
Shia LaBeouf.
Never.
Kurt Cobain.
No.
Billy Corgan.
Adam Lambert.
Only in the Ava Adore video.
So she still said only.
There's certain periods where people are attractive.
Okay, but you said Kurt, not at all. Like
Matt Damon.
before the shotgun or after?
Neither, because he always looks like he needed a shower.
Dave Grohl.
Okay, yes, because he looks adorably cute.
Johnny Depp.
No. Okay, hold on. Crybaby Johnny Depp.
Wilder Valderrama.
No.
Danny Masterson.
Topher Grace.
No. And no.
What's that?
Tobey Maguire.
No.
Dude from fuck. Jake.
Dude from Fox.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Ew.
Jamie Foxx. Now she's like, what period?
He's got.
Yeah. That's
in
exactly
the
what I was thinking.
in the dress or
I was like,
Jamie Foxx show.
I'm gonna go with maybe for a short period relationship, like in between serious relationships, situationship, because he would make you laugh and it would feel good to forget about life's worries for a bit.
Jim Carrey.
Who? Jim Carrey? No, God. No.
Ben Kingsley.
You said you want to laugh. Jim Carrey.
Jim Parsons.
No.
Simon Helberg.
Dude Leonard from Big.
Johnny Galecki.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Another one for the Leonards.
What about what's the other Raj?
Yes. Raj.
So Raj, but not Wilder Valderrama.
Correct.
Okay.
Wilbur's actually better.
Chad Michael Murray. I just wanted to say a three-name person. John Wayne Gacy.
No. On so many levels, no.
I mean, you said make you laugh for Jamie Foxx, so I
No,
figured.
but clowns are fucking creepy, even if he wasn't a serial killer.
You might want to press the button here.
I know, I was paying attention.
Denzel Washington.
Yes, in a heartbeat.
Okay.
Not even a thought in my head.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes.
John Travolta.
That's a bad
No,
person.
God, no.
Owen Wilson.
Really?
No.
Not even John Travolta Grease?
No.
Nicolas Cage.
No.
I thought that was one for you.
No.
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill?
Oh.
In every iteration.
Okay.
And twice on Sunday. Henry
Okay.
Cavill.
Okay, so of him, Robert Pattinson.
I was just going to say
Never.
that.
What's my dude? It's Wolverine. Dang it.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman.
You gotta say yes.
Yeah, because there's periods there. Les Mis. There's...
No for Les Mis.
Jackman's always been jacked.
No. I don't like super jacked unless they have a little bit of soft. Like he's too hard. Like I can't.
That's
just,
what she said.
I can't just lay my head.
Our first one of the night. Hold on, I gotta find it. I can't just lay my head on what?
I can't just lay my head on his shoulder without it hurting.
Oh, that's yeah. We should just leave that one up there.
There's no squishiness.
This new layout, it's harder to get to the
You want a
annotation.
big guy.
Yes, I want some
Cedric the
softness.
Entertainer.
No.
Keaton
That's a big
from
guy.
Keenan and Kel.
Yes.
Kel.
Yes.
Oh, both. Somebody's in trouble. Oh, here it goes. Oh, Nick. Damn, who chose cookie cutters for me?
Who do you think?
You assholes.
I was gonna offer to trade with you.
Seth MacFarlane.
Seth Green.
Hold on. Seth Green, yes.
You like gingers?
I do. Really do.
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen, absolutely not.
That's a ginger.
Seth MacFarlane is hard.
Because he can be
He's hard
handsome.
right now.
Because he's handsome.
That's what.
He can be handsome, yeah.
Yeah, he's handsome. And he's got an excellent voice.
And he's a family guy.
And he's got some interesting humor.
Would you let him do you while he's doing the Peter voice?
No.
Oh my God!
That's the thing! His
Or
characters.
Stewie?
No, the Stewie one. You're doing time for that
Oh
one.
my god, that'd be hilarious.
The characters are too...
Brian?
I can't.
I-
Because his regular voice reminds me of his characters.
He doesn't really change it up that much, in my opinion.
Right.
So it's tone of voice.
And I can't. I can't
The
think
Stewie
of
one
him-
is like the closest.
I can't think of him as his own person because I think of his characters with his voice. And so I can't think of him as his own person. That's why it would be hard for that guy. Because he is attractive. I find him very attractive. He's got a wonderful speaking voice. But it's his characters.
What the deuce?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
I
not
watched-
trying to do it. The voice.
But
Or,
I
you know.
watched him, like, when I watched him on the Orville. I freaking loved it. I love that show.
the ginger on the Orville, you remember talking about him?
He's the dad. He's the dad on Ted.
His best friend.
Yeah, I love that guy.
He's the dad on Ted, and he's a horrible racist on it.
Jean-Luc Picard.
I was gonna say him next. I was gonna say.
Okay, what iteration?
I was gonna say Patrick
Next
Stewart.
generation.
Next Generation Picard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next generation.
Ooh, Chris Evans.
Yes.
Chris.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
What's that other one? That other dude from
Wesley
Star Trek?
Snipes.
Star Trek.
Yes.
There's
Well-
another Chris from Star Trek.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Okay, post taxes Wesley or pre-taxes Wesley?
Pre-taxes.
Okay. Marlon Wayans. In the dress.
Sean Wayne.
I wouldn't do any of the Wayne's brothers.
Dang.
Sean Wayne's is actually good looking.
Not even Damon?
Damon was good looking.
I'm not advocating that. She just ruled them all out.
All of
It
them.
felt racial.
No.
Racially motivated. I wouldn't do any of those Wayne's brothers. I was like,
No,
wow.
it's just... I just associate them so much with my childhood. Because I
Oh,
watched-
but not Keenan and Kel.
I
Or
didn't watch-
Denzel.
because I watched Keenan and Kel mostly like when I was a teenager, and they were my same age.
Robert Redford.
Oh my God, he's
He's
dead.
dead.
When he was young. When he was young.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gilbert Gottfried.
No.
When he was young.
No, because it reminds me of Duckman.
Jason Alexander.
No.
That's Jason
That's
Alexander.
the actual Duckman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Lovitz. Remember the
No,
Oh, God.
Critic. Yeah. No to John Lovitz. Sorry. Sorry to John Lovitz. He seems like
Norm Macdonald.
No.
Dave Coulier.
Reminds me of Alanis Morissette.
Woody Harrelson.
Which iteration? I had the hugest crush on him whenever he was on Cheers.
Okay, so I was gonna say White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah.
So it's that one.
Yeah.
Jack Black.
No, because I know.
Jack Black has been skinny.
No.
Paul Rudd.
Hold on.
Ooh, Paul Rudd's always
Jack
skinny.
Black, because I'm fairly certain he's extremely happy with his wife. And-
So you want to take him? So you, yeah.
No, because I want them to be happy.
Kevin Smith.
No, because it's the same thing. Pretty sure him and his wife go way back.
Because Denzel and his wife don't go way back either. I mean, this is if
I didn't think about that.
this is if they're available and they want you, not
Oh, okay. Then,
They're all hypotheticals.
Will Smith before the slap.
Dude was
Will Smith. Everybody wanted.
I
He
mean,
was
for
too
real.
goofy for me.
Well, you
But
just said
Johnny
you-
Galecki, you're
You
picking.
just said you wanted funny.
He was just not the right funny. And Johnny,
Keaton and Kel, but Will Smith is too goofy.
he was just too and I'm like, I don't know.
The dude from Kings of Queens.
No.
Oh
No.
no. Kevin James, yeah.
No.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
No.
The Rock.
No.
No, no, get out. No, you got to do The Rock,
No.
and that's the bottom line. Or no,
Roman Reigns. Really? That's handsome.
she said no to the millions and millions.
I don't even know which way to go.
I didn't even see who it was until now. I was like, no, we got to do Bruiser Bash just like the rest of us.
Oh, it's Vegas.
Safa.
Vegas gonna get us.
Oh, hey, she got one person off the
Yeah,
rip.
I mean,
Well, I can't. How do I turn around?
See the buttons? L and R.
Right.
L is for counterclockwise, R is for clockwise. That's why it sucks. We picked it because we know it sucks.
I didn't pick it because I know it sucks. I didn't want to be mean to people.
Now let's do women, okay?
What?
Yeah.
Women support women.
Fine.
Jennifer Aniston.
No.
Really?
Courtney Cox.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Yes. I've never found her attractive.
So Rachel.
Lisa Kudrow.
No, Monica, yes.
Why does it keep going to one side?
Because that's how it's programmed.
You
You got to move them both at the same time. I like how y'all left me here.
The chick from Fight Club.
I don't even remember the chick
Yes.
from Fight Club.
She's fucking wicked. I like
What's her name? Oh, Vicky Val. Is she not the same girl from Waterboy?
No.
No, it's the one who's married to Tim Burton.
Yeah.
She's in a
Harry
lot-
Potter, man. Think Harry Potter.
Gosh.
None of that's
She
helping.
played Bellatrix Lestrange.
None of that's
She was
helping.
in the that Barber movie with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Sweeney Todd. She was in Sweeney Todd.
None of that's helping.
She was in what is her name? She was Marla in Fight Club. Helena Bonham Carter.
There you go.
Hillary Rodham Clinton.
No.
Wait, young?
Yeah.
No.
Yes, she was
No,
hot.
she wasn't.
She was young.
Monica
Never.
Lewinsky.
Yeah, she was cute as fuck.
Yeah, she
Are
was.
you
God.
kidding me?
Oh,
I would
yeah.
have done things to that dress.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
She was a torta.
Just the dress was like, it has stories that it would just talk. Like,
That torta knows how to blow.
there are people who are like, hey, I just wanted to smell her breath after. Did he let you play the saxophone?
I played the saxophone.
No, this is a Monica
Oh.
Lewinsky question.
Julie Roberts.
I went from one Monica to another.
Really?
Yeah.
She's an actual redhead.
I
Oh, I get to choose.
I like redheaded men.
Porn stars.
No, stick to the. We don't want to educate people on the porn star.
Oh. Jen Jameson.
No.
Hmm?
Let's not do porn stars.
No corn. Okay.
Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
I mean, who's gonna say no?
I would say that.
You would say no?
Yeah.
Liv Morgan.
It's too many tattoos
You
for
don't like
me.
Liv Morgan?
No.
I Liv Morgan, yes.
Stephanie Becker.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Vicky's like, I don't know who any of these people are.
Alexa Bliss.
No.
Nah, she's too plain Jane for me. She's not ugly or anything.
Beautiful.
I'm not saying she's not.
Okay, here's
But
one.
just
that
because
you
somebody's
should
pretty
say
doesn't
yes
mean
to.
like you're like attractive.
Chelsea Green.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Really?
No.
Okay. I know you'll say yes to Tony Storm.
Yes.
Jade Cargill.
Nah.
Cargill, sorry. Jacqueline.
Jake
Yes.
Quallen.
Mickey James.
No.
I don't. That was unnecessary for me.
Rita, of course.
Yes.
No, Mickey James. AJ Lee.
No.
No.
She's too tiny.
Soraya Mariah.
No.
No, after you see that video,
I've seen all of
I
it.
can see why she says no. She has more than one?
Yes, good.
On purpose?
Yes.
No, only one was not.
Only one was not on purpose, I think.
Are the rest with Ronnie Radke?
Huh?
The lead singer of Falling in Reverse?
Her ex-husband
No.
or her husband.
Ex-boyfriend?
She has one with Xavier Woods.
Yeah, that was the illegal one that Brad, whatever his name was, recorded. I've seen that one.
Brad Maddox.
I've
I thought
seen.
the other one was
Most of them are.
the one with her boyfriend, right?
Most of them are with him. With Maddox.
Anyway, I just remember them being more than one.
Zaria, have you seen how Zaria looks like?
No.
She's bad. Like without the makeup, that chick is like beautiful. So Ruka?
Yeah. She's young though.
Showdown
Which kinda makes me
minigame.
uncomfortable.
I had no idea she had more than one.
Huh?
Jason Jane?
I don't know what she looks like.
She ain't bad. She's cute.
Gail Kim?
I like Gail Kim. What's that one that
Maybe. Maybe. I'd have to think about it.
Jimmy Yang?
Her dad is a wrestler.
Jimmy O Yang?
Tully something.
Oh, Tully Blanchard. You talking
Yeah,
about
so
Tessa?
Tessa Blanchard.
No, because she's racist. Fuck.
Who cares? Forget the racist shit.
No, it's kind of hard to.
No, because she actually married a Mexican.
Okay, but did she marry a black guy? Continue.
She probably could. What's the difference? They're different races.
Yeah, but if you're racist, if she married a black guy and hated Mexicans and said it, then you'd be like, nah, not attracted to
They
her.
only heard her say it once, and she has to actually play.
Okay, Paula Dean.
I don't know who that is.
No.
Roseanne Barr.
No.
Erica Kirk.
I don't know who
No.
those are.
You don't know who Roseanne Barr is?
No, the other one.
Erica
Erica
Kirk.
Kirk.
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk's wife. See, I just got demonetized probably for saying his name. You just shared the Drewskis, or commented on the Drewskis sketch. And that's primarily who he's making fun
That's
of.
who he was making fun of. Or satire.
Are we started already?
Yes. We'll have to pause.
Son of a bitch.
It's this one. Hurry up.
It's hard to grab them.
That's what she said, but I can't hit the annotation. I might have to take the hat off for this one because freaking. Ah. Odd one out. Is it not? Oh, that's you. I'm looking at the wrong freaking screen. Damn it!
Fucking eyesight. I hate these things sometimes. Same son of a bitch. Where's he at? Oh, there he is. Okay, so it's this one.
Oh shoot, Jamie passed me. Go through the door, Mario! What are you doing? I'm sitting here waiting and well, I screwed that up.
What was this one? The fuck? Okay. Which was first? Oh, okay.
Finish.
Damn, I was right at the last one.
Good job, Jamie.
I don't think I've ever won that one.
I was right at the last
I always
one.
mess up on this one.
I messed up on the 2 barrels, and then
I did too.
I didn't walk through the door. I'm sitting there waiting on the loading screen, and didn't walk. I'm like, dang, I'm fine. All I needed was to hit the last one, and I would have won.
It took me forever to get the 2 skinny.
Oh,
the
so you
next
got Luigi.
last
Is that
one.
what we're doing? Okay.
Yeah. I needed to get him for that turn. Yeah.
It's a meatball.
So where were we at? She said no to Mickey James or something like that. But then
Yeah.
I thought there was somebody else after
Kelly
that.
Kelly.
I don't know what she looks like.
Kelly Clarkson.
Which version?
Fat Kelly.
Maybe.
Make a wish, take a change, and break away.
Yeah. I don't know. I think all kinds of Kelly Clarkson because she's got like great attitude.
Ellen DeGeneres.
No. Christina Aguilera.
Which Christina Aguilera?
Anne
Big
Hesh.
one.
Yes.
Anne
Big
Hesh.
one, yes.
'Cause she had a
Anne Hesh
booty
is
and
no
the
thank you.
big old booty.
I like how you're like polite about it. No, thank you. Angelina Jolie.
Which version?
I mean, the Tomb Raider version.
Before Brad.
Before Brad, yes.
Shaka Khan.
Yes.
Lil Kim.
No.
Nicki Minaj.
No.
Aaliyah.
Yes. No. Well.
She went so quick on that one. Miley Cyrus.
No.
You mean you don't want the best of both worlds?
No.
I'm ready. You're ready.
No.
Nikki Glazer.
Start.
I don't know who that is.
Comedian.
Finish.
Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's see.
Hillary Duff. Yes. No.
Angelica Houston.
Yes.
That's
No to Hillary Duff.
Yeah.
Turns left.
She's
Angela
my
Bassett.
one. Yes.
Anytime.
Every time.
Anytime. She bad. She is bad.
Sound like you're waiting to inhale.
dice. You didn't want the trips?
Probably scared to use them right now. Red hair is created by an endangered gene. These babies are covering because genetics is coming to get them. Interesting.
Redheaded people also don't, pain medicine and stuff doesn't work on them as well and stuff.
All right.
No to Matthew McConaughey.
We were staying with the women, I thought.
Matt Damon.
Which Matthew?
Young Matt Damon.
Like
Bruce Jenner.
Oh, yes.
Yes, Bruce?
No.
Caitlyn Jenner.
No.
Affleck.
No.
Andy Dick.
No.
You thought about it, though.
No, I had to remember what he looked like.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
Well.
I'm like, I am a woman.
But you
Well,
said
my
no to,
turn.
but you said no to Channing Tatum and Hugh Jackman.
Channing
Yeah.
Tatum, Yum.
His face is weird looking. Like, if Channing Tatum had a bag over his head, sure.
That
And
sounds
as
so
long as
mean.
He didn't like talk too. I'm sure he's a nice guy. He's just
Really? Did you just seriously change it back?
Yeah.
he's gonna steal my star.
You're the only one that's got one. So.
I mean. With my luck, I land on Bowser and I lose the star anyway.
That'd be hilarious.
Alright, well, there it is. Got a star. Yeah, you can have it.
Dual minigame.
They both land on the bad luck thing, though. Or she was already on it, but now he's on it, so he's gonna lose money even if he wins. Or something unlucky even if he wins.
Wait, what do I have to don't do?
Because you're dueling. So if
Why am I getting to pick what I want?
because it's him that landed on yours.
This is yours anyways. Didn't you win last time?
You know, what you're supposed to say here is we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. That's what you're supposed to say.
Okay.
Oh, that's shit.
You both failed at that.
Yeah. She's still. Oh, she got one or somebody too. I think it's a game of luck.
The one versus game I actually like. And I don't even get to play.
Looks like we're waiting on Yoshi.
They should have more variations of it with like different sand and stuff that you could just.
doing good now, but once we start the actual thing,
Mm-hmm. We're talking about practice. I always keep telling myself I'm going to get an Allen Iverson annotation, and I never do.
the things we bleed for.
I'm just fuck it. While y'all are playing, I'm gonna like find it right now.
Looks like we're waiting
Save
on
it for
Yoshi.
later.
Ooh. Whole fucking straight.
If I could spell practice.
Start.
Yo.
Looks like Vicky's got it.
Yes!
Oh my gosh!
Oh, sweet.
Oh my
Sweet
gosh.
Jesus!
Both of y'all did well.
Finish.
Yeah, good job, Vicky. Thank you for your comments.
Winner.
Deadass!
That's all I hear now, Jamie.
That's what he said.
Oh, didn't I couldn't get the damn scene to show. I know he gets lodestones.
Yeah,
But I mean that's it's still not terrible compared to what it could be.
I have them too, though.
Oh. Well.
You guys might as well use them.
Yeah.
And you actually can switch out the thing for letter.
Minigame.
Everybody versus me.
I gotta remove it because I can't edit it right now for whatever reason. Probably because we're recording, I can't put it up there right now. We're talking about practice.
I knew it was going to be that crane. It's okay.
Possibly.
Everybody
But
versus
hey,
me.
let's see if UConn beat Michigan State.
Okie dokie.
Is that game still going on?
Let's go.
Oh, it's 45-44.
Start.
Oh crap, I'm supposed to be playing. Did he get me? That'd be funny if I could have one without doing anything. I forgot which button it is to actually slow down.
Oh. Backwards.
Oh, you just hold back?
Yeah.
Aw,
How did I get every single one of you?
Diddums. If I left it on that, does that show me a source? No, it doesn't.
Only 3 turns left.
this is going to be an interesting game of back and forth here.
Oh well.
Well, she landed there, so she can go again, actually.
Oh, she can steal coins.
This again. And you know, last time I got it all the way in the blue, still got robbed of 11 coins.
Now 12.
Makes no sense. Oh! That was good.
Oh. I'm sorry.
Girl on girl action. Woohoo!
Oh, it's fine. I hope we don't lose anyway. I'm gonna just take my coins.
I like how Yoshi, like.
Oh, this is gonna be interesting. It's about to be a what? A cat fight. Oh, no, it's girl fight. That's how the song goes. I forget who sings that. It's about to be a what? A girl fight.
2, 1.
Punch her! Punch her!
Oh shit.
Yoshi just said, eat my
Alright,
dust.
Mickey.
Oh! Animal abuse.
Finish.
She pulled it off.
Winner.
She said, I'll give.
Love it.
She says, I'll give you 1 coin.
Oh, he's so cute.
Isabel has to do a secret bunny for Easter.
Aw.
So she asked me if I could crochet. And he has bracelets, that's why he's.
Mario time.
It's a pipe. Oh, that sucks.
Why?
I really wanted you to get it.
Kid said this is AI, but I think it's so cute.
Oh, oh. So we're all gonna take Jamie's star, basically.
Well, you can at least take Yoshi or Luigi from her.
Okay.
3.
Oh! He got it. This is gonna get interesting.
Very nice.
I feel like it's been dark most of the game.
Yeah. Watch her switch it right back. Wouldn't that be some fucking funny shit?
I haven't rolled over like.
Oh, she's gonna take Luigi and say, "Oh, she can land on the chance time."
Do it. Do it.
Twice.
I think the chance
Take
time's
her
only
star.
once.
Take her star.
It would be nice if it was twice.
Tell me we're playing Take Jamie's star today.
Chance time.
Well, that was
Yeah, that
interesting.
was coming. I had it coming. It's okay.
Just gave me back almost the coin you took from me.
It's cool. No worries. You gotta do it again, though.
No, chance time is only one.
No?
Yeah, I won't let her do it twice even. I don't like any of them.
I don't want to do any of this, but I'm picking Big Top since we haven't played it in like a year.
I don't even know what it is.
Me either.
Just not gatekeepers.
Yeah, I'm not picking
So what'd you say, gatekeepers?
No? Oh my god, Bobby.
Two of them pick
I
Gatekeeper.
didn't pick anything.
But by not picking Gatekeepers, you would have increased the odds for another one.
I was trying to pick something, but
I don't even care anymore.
I don't either. It's just.
I think they put these four together because we never picked them.
Start.
We used to like this one, though.
I like it.
I just don't like it late when I'm, like, tired. If that makes sense, like...
I forgot what I was looking for.
Ta-da!
Oh, whoops. How do you zoom in again?
R.
R? Okay. I'm gonna get a big old fat zero because I just hit the wrong button.
I'll put the other blue one in there. There's so many other things in there. Fuck. Okay.
No! I hit the button.
Did you hit the A button?
Yes.
Doesn't look like it. Looks like you ran out of time. Damn, he walked up the stairs, douchebag.
So I got the closest? Yay!
Probably.
What the fuck?
What? You got the most.
No, I didn't. Somebody else did.
I thought it was you. It wasn't me. I was behind
I
you.
got a 91.
Yeah, I had 86.
What the hell is he doing? Is that there another chain shot? There's another one. Oh gosh, I screwed this up.
Damn it.
Why did I get a zoom?
I got third.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I couldn't get any. I couldn't hit the A button in time. I should have won that one.
That's some bullshit.
I didn't even realize what camera I was until partway through the
Only
first
two
one.
chances.
What the?
Yo, Luigi. Well, now we can't change it at all. Chain. Give it a chain.
Oh, I thought she had it.
Chain.
I thought you got a. I thought you stole her star.
Yeah, she stole it right back.
Oh.
Leonard's about to steal her star anyways.
She chose not to do the chance time. Wow. That surprises me.
I didn't want to give away my star.
I would, yeah, I'd understand that.
Versus minigame.
First chain. $60 coins. Something good. Oh, fuck. This
I
is a
wish
joke.
it would choose like the ones that we don't get to play all the time.
Yeah, same.
So now we know who's gonna stay on top.
Yeah.
She was tired.
Come on, Leonard. There you
Oh,
go.
I was rooting for you, Vicky. In my head, stick it out my mouth.
I got 3.
I got nothing.
Oh.
Aw. Didn't.
Mario time.
Do
I
it.
hope you get
Do
2.
it. Do it.
2. 2.
Damn. She done fucked up your shit. Well, you're gonna get it in the last round anyway.
Do what?
You're gonna steal her.
Yeah, the last star, but she might get another star before then. You might get a star right here. 11 away. What? Why would you do that?
He pulled a pole.
Her mistake was not doing the chance time to be closer. Your mistake was that. But at least with hers,
I did it.
She
'cause I
still
didn't
has
want
a
to
star.
lose my star, yeah.
she has the opportunity to still get another one. You are going to be down there with no way out. If she gets that star, Vicky gets the star here.
It'll be okay.
Okay.
One.
2. Damn. Vicky, if you win here, this will be the first time I see you win.
She's won once, I think.
Yeah, it was my second.
Yeah, but the first time I'd see her win.
Yeah. Probably before. Yeah, I don't know how long ago it was, but it's probably one of the first times she was playing.
Yeah.
I feel like it was her and Anne. Maybe you were here.
I think it was all the girls.
Yeah. But I know Jonas was here too.
Yeah, all the girls. Because he always plays as Daisy, because it was all the girls.
Fair enough. Oh!
What's up?
Well, Jamie's still before you, right?
Thank you, Vicky.
But
My
how
girl.
far is she?
Closer than you.
She's got a mushroom thing.
Yep, and I have a +5.
I'll take it.
Okie dokie.
Did he say wussy?
I said Yoshi.
Start.
Wario, you got what?
Oh shit, I didn't realize if you jump on the thing, you die.
You were actually moving. I was like, play like you normally play. That's what I was thinking. And I was like, oh, she just touched the tip.
She said.
Yeah.
Just the tip, baby. Just the tip.
That's what he said.
Well, in that game, like, just the edge knocks you out.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
All right, Leonard.
Final turn.
Here we go.
Well, even if she gets a 1, she's there, so.
She's got it.
crazy. On 10 turns, we only had one person. We only had Luigi.
Yeah.
Thought we
I think
used.
I moved the least amount. I got the unlucky stars.
I think somebody's gonna get an eventful. I think that's Vicky.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Fuck that peach. Get it?
Yes,
Fuck that
Alpha.
Oh, didn't.
peach. Do it. Do it.
Damn, from first to third. On the last turn.
On the last splash.
Oh wait, no. I'm gonna be second. No, I guess I'm gonna be third.
Vicky has 28.
For some reason I thought 59 is how many he had before he bought the...
Nobody got a star. Hidden block. Nothing.
Go ahead and use your double dice.
Yeah.
Ain't no point.
It's not like he's gonna take anything from you. Maybe you can land on the chance time. He did it! Son of a biscuit! Well, I'm just gonna put the controller down here. Let's see how this plays out. It's a star or nothing for him. And there's a swap star and coins on this too? Oh,
Shit.
saved. Saved.
No.
He took his coins right back. So that moves Vicky in the third.
Yeah, and that moves me in the second.
That sucks.
Hey, sometimes you chose your own fate.
Yeah.
Went by the fork in the road and went straight. Ho! Or hop! It's hobby, baby. Yeah, touch the untouchable, break the unbreakable, shake the unshakable.
Well, it looks like you are so far
Oh,
my Achilles heel, dude.
I mean, I won. Or I'm winning.
Yeah, but she was
the
here.
hobby didn't win.
And actually, I mean, she had the whole game won. I just took
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not, like, bragging or anything. Snow Brawl again.
That's the only game I can play.
Hit you with the white stuff. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. The white stuff. That's gotta be a new thing now. That we all did that impromptu. We all hit the same notes. That's added to the lexicon now. That's added to it. What was that?
Rock, paper, scissors, go. Nice.
I guess it's paper. The white stuff.
Well, right at 12 o'clock.
Alright, it's all gonna be on who gets these
Extras.
extra stars. I wish Alpha was here to experience my win with me.
I don't know. That's 2-1. That's a little
I
hard.
don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I bet Vicky pulls this off with her eventful.
All right, y'all. So here we go. We've returned to Mario Party.
I got last.
So Jamie had this whole game
If I
on
get a
lock,
star.
and I came back in and stole a star from her at the end. So 3 of us had stars. We'll see who gets the dub on this one.
Well, you had 2.
Jamie had 2.
Who finished with 2?
Nobody.
Nobody? Nobody, no.
No trouble I see.
So here, that was just crazy right there, that huge swing. Watch it be eventful. Oh, item.
Ooh.
Jamie. Jamie doesn't have that one? I think Jamie has that one.
Give it to me.
Yep, they gave it right back to her.
Damn it.
That's me, bitches.
So unless I get a star here, she's winning it.
Fingers crossed.
Eventful. Son of a
That's gotta be you,
biatch.
dude.
I landed on 2 unlucky space things. Yes! All of us but her! That just barely put me back on top. They gave it to all of us but you.
Me.
I got a star. I still got last. You got 2 stars.
Yeah, but I don't have enough coins.
Motherfucker.
How long has it been?
An eternity. An eternity.
Oh my god. I can't believe you stole it from me. That should be my belt.
Ladies and gentlemen,
That should
boys
be
and
my
girls,
belt.
But it's
children
not.
of all ages, the other yellow hat man.
Proudly presents to you, it's Mario Party Champion of the World!
Not once, not twice, not 3 times.
The Unseen 17 or something. Unseen Velveteen Dream.
Oh wait, he's canceled.
Ooh,
Velveteen Dream.
Yeah.
Canceled.
Yeah.
Well, whatever the case is, you know what it is. Lauren, your time's up. Alpha, your time's up. Bryce, we don't even know who you are anymore. The champ is here!
Bryce who?
RKO that bitch. Oof.
Stole it.
All right, y'all. That was a fun one. Like Dom Sub, as always. Special shout out to Jamie for giving up the title, for losing at the very end. We appreciate that. Because that's what's best for business.
I gotta give to those who are in need.
Yeah, thank you. Alpha, you heard it. You heard it here first. We hear you're in need.
Just the tip. Just the tip.
Baby, I need more than that.
Flower, you got anything? Let's have the flower up here. We couldn't have done it without flower. It was glitching out.
Was I sleeping with my eyes open again?
Yes, you were. You were very, very much asleep. Speaking of which, that's what I'm about to do. So we will see y'all in the next one. For myself, for Vicky,
Latino Eat.
I didn't get to him yet, and Jamie. We are going to see y'all in the next one. Other Yellow Hat Guy is out.
Captain Sensation.